Perceptions in Culture, presented by Anna Kaiser. So what we'll be covering in this presentation is web-based social cognition, how culture relates to our perceptions, how perceptions vary across cultures, differences between American and Asian cultures, a surprise I found along the way, as well as my personal takeaways. But beginning with web-based social cognition, first, just understanding what is web-based social cognition. It's really speaking to how we interact socially using technology, how that influences our perceptions. As our culture relies more and more heavily on technology, more and more social interactions happen through devices, in addition or even opposed to face-to-face. Many relationships now include both real-world interactions as well as web-based interactions. For an example, I may be interacting with my church family in the real world once a week, but then be relying on text messages, email, social media for all my other interactions with those same people throughout the rest of the week. The interactions happening in this course's discussion posts is a good example of completely web-based social interaction. One interesting thing to know about web-based interactions is it limits the cues that individuals have to draw conclusions from. Researchers found that those who rated an online partner made less detailed but more intense personality descriptions of their partners than did those who interacted face-to-face. That was drawn from our textbook this week. Without being able to see and hear the other party's nonverbal cues like body language and tone of voice, we can make very strong conclusions about the other person. Now, this doesn't always have to be negative, but it does help to understand how rash and often harsh themes are placed and written in web-based social platforms like Facebook is a good example. Culture and our perceptions. So, we all see the world through cultural glasses. It's taken from Julian Burriel's TED Talk video there. Perceptions do vary across cultures. Some cultures expect that they will be interdependent on those around them, while others, especially Western cultures, value independence or self-sufficiency. We expect that others will respond to us in a way that fits our cultural norms. When someone doesn't respond in a way that is typical to the culture I belong to, and I have my cultural glasses on, I am apt to misconstrue what is happening in that situation. My response could be isolating through confronting the other culture's behavior or complaining about it. Benefiting from diversity requires that we conform to it by observing the other culture, learning it, coming to understand it, and adapting to it. Or, in simpler terms, just changing out your cultural glasses prescription. American culture versus Asian culture. I wanted to look more closely at Asian cultures. So I found this article, Self as Cultural Product, an examination of East Asian and North American cultures. And what I learned was that North Americans generally view themselves positively, while East Asians are very self-critical. Americans value autonomy, and Asians value meeting the obligations of roles to play a part in interdependent cultures. Americans are very motivated by success, and when they're faced with failure, to many Americans, that's an indicator of ability. So when an American's faced with failure, they're likely to say, I am not able to succeed in this. I should look to other things that I'll be successful at. Someone in an Asian culture is very motivated by failure. They want to succeed in their roles. They're interdependent. They see themselves as playing an integral role in society and society's success. So when they're faced with failure, rather than seeing that as an indicator of their ability, being faced with failure indicates to them the amount of effort that's needed. So they want to always save face. They don't want to ever fall short of the role that they are participating in society in. So saving face is very important, and making sure that they meet failure or the potential of failure with increasing effort to save face. A surprise that came to me along the way was just learning through that article that both of these cultures, both American and East Asian cultures' perceptions, are deeply influenced by the predominant religion in the culture. Christianity for Americans and Confucius thought for Asians. Upon reflecting on this idea, it does make sense. The idea that our conduct is deeply tied to our moral groundings just makes sense. And my perception of Asian culture, I don't know that I would want to have admitted to it, but I think I did subscribe a little bit to a stereotype that Asians are just generally smarter than others and are perfectionists. After gaining a better understanding of their cultural context, I understand better that need to bring more effort and to rise to challenges, to overcome challenges, to be a participant in society, to meet the needs of any given role with success. So my perception of Asian culture kind of changed from just a stereotype, trying to kind of categorize and understand, to true understanding. And so my conclusions here, just wrapping things up, we looked at web-based social cognition and how that really leads to stronger opinions of others due to less cues weighing into our conclusions. And our culture directly relates our perceptions of others and ourselves. And these perceptions change as the culture norms change. Asian culture is different than American culture, definitely. And my perception has changed regarding Asian cultures. I better understand the need to save face. And just personally, wrapping all this up, I was reminded of this verse in Ephesians 4:2. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. So as I'm better understanding my own perceptions and the perceptions of other cultures, just to be doing that in love and with patience, bearing with others. And these are the references that I used in today's presentation. Thank you for watching.